Hello, I'm Alessandra Steiner. I'm a beauty journalist and I am so excited for this show today. Yes, I'm calling it a show because literally this is what it is. I'm going to be joined by three incredible women in a moment to show you an innovation, a new launch from by Terry, a launch that I know a lot of people have been waiting for a very, very long time. It's an innovation in the hyaluronic range. We all know and love, and definitely I absolutely love the Hyaluronic Hydra Powder in the loose form, which was the first product launched in the range, which is now a very extensive range that we'll all talk about. But what really struck me about this is that obviously I've been a beauty journalist for a very long time. I've been very lucky to know Terry de Gunsburg for a long time, and I'm always in awe of her genius, but not just her genius at creating products, but also how she always thinks about the user. She always thinks about us, the women, the men who use her products, and what do we want from products. So when it comes to a powder, as someone who has dry skin, I was like, I'm never gonna use a powder. And this is something that I remember when Terry first brought out this product and she was saying to me, you know what, Alex, I'm bringing out a powder that people who don't like powder are gonna love. It's actually a powder that is gonna make your skin better. It's a powder that is gonna hydrate your skin. And I was like, come on. You know, I always knew that, you know, the products she launches and she works on and she creates, they're always skincare blended with makeup. It's never just one thing. It's not skincare or makeup. It's skincare benefits in makeup, which is something that's very trendy right now. But this is how Terry has always worked and thought about her products. So when she brought out this powder, she said, trust me, you are going to love this. It's going to feel like skincare, but it's going to give you that polished finish you want from a loose powder. And I was like, okay. And lo and behold, I'm not the only person. The success of this product speaks for itself. It is one of the best-selling products in the world. It's a cult product. Makeup artists love it. You know, makeup lovers love it. Men love it. Women love it. All ages love it. But there is a new one. There's a new product to love. And I think at this point, I'm not the one who should reveal what this new product is. I actually want to bring the lady herself to the screen. Here she is. Bonjour Terry.
Merci. Bonjour Alexandra, ça va ma chère? Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. You know, it's a great opportunity for me to meet you all and to tell you about my very new products, my new baby. Is what we all, even me, expected from the beginning when I've launched in 2012 the loose version of this hyaluronic hydra powder. Today, it's the compact version with exactly the same benefits, with a puff in the box, to be able to mattify, to revamp the glow of your skin during the day, in the same version with the same skincare benefit, but to be on the go tool. It was very difficult to get to this formula because it's not because you get the loose version that you can just press and get a compact. It doesn't work like that in science, in research and development. And it took a lot of time to be able to keep.
I was going to ask you how long it took you, because you've been asked, like, I know that your fans and me included, you know, have been asking you for this product for a very long time. But can you please make a portable version? Because yeah, so I mean, tell me, like, so the motivation obviously was that you yourself wanted it, you had everybody asking for it. What was the difficulty in making it into a pressed powder?
You know, when I create that by chance, because it was a beautiful surprise in my lab with my scientist, I discovered this amazing white texture ingredients. I thought it was, I don't know, it looks so fluffy. So it wasn't the pigment, it wasn't talc, it was very strange. And my lab people told me it's hyaluronic acid that we are adding in our makeup, in our skincare, in our foundation formulas. And I say, oh, and I just put it my hand in the powder and put it like that around my eyes and said, oh, but it feels so good. Let's do a setting powder. And they said, but it's impossible. It's an ingredient. And I said, okay, I want that powder only with that ingredient. And
tell us why hyaluronic acid is so important.
Because we have that component in our skin. It's the most natural component that we have. We have it in the joint, we have to plump the skin. Baby has a huge amount of hyaluronic acid. It gives life to the skin. It's a great, in the industry, it's also, and there is different qualities and weight of hyaluronic acid. And in the powder, we've put the purest and the highest possible level of hyaluronic acid in a powder. That makes it very skincare. And from the beginning, to come back to the compact, I said, okay, we'll do a loose powder just with hyaluronic acid and silice to be able to be, let's say, a powder skincare. And I said, but it's impossible. And I said, yes, it's possible. When people tell me that it's impossible, that is when
you love that. When people say to you, this is not possible, you're like, I'm going to show you. But it's the same thing. When you remember all those years ago when you showed me the loose powder at first, I was just like, this is not, there's no way.
I remember you said, oh, Terry, please. You told me not you. And I said, yes, me, Alex. And I remember that so clearly. You said, it's impossible. You said.
Yeah, it blew me away. Oh. But apart from the hyaluronic acid, what are some of the other hero ingredients that you packed into the pressed powder as well?
So, to make it from loose to compact, you have to recreate completely the formula. And that's why it takes 8 years to come to this compact formula. Because I want the compact formula to have exactly the same benefits, skincare benefits and finish as the loose version. It has silicia to bring the soft focus effect, to bring the light diffusion, the oil absorption, to mattifying, blurring result without caking the face. It has mica, the mica from premium pearls. It helps from adhesion. It makes skin looks extremely soft and total invisible. It's a total invisible. I was going to ask you,
is it because sometimes compact versions of loose powders are not as sheer? Did you manage to keep the sheerness?
That was the challenge, to keep the sheerness, to keep it compatible with very, very delicate zone on the face, and I use it on my lids. And as you can see, a teenager, just become that I'm not a teenager. And look, I'm not cheating you. How many times am I applying? And it doesn't turn to my skin to white, opaque finish. It's mattify. I'm doing on purpose one side and not side. And you see how it's like enlightening my skin. My skin is still mobile. I don't know how you say. It's blurring my pores.
It does the opposite of what other powders do. It doesn't dry you out. If anything, it adds moisture. It makes your skin better. And this is what with your makeup in general, wearing your makeup actually makes the skin better.
It's the first step of my research. I'm in this industry for 40 years now. My background is from medical university. I love science. And I put a lot of science in my innovation, in my products, but I don't want to make my products boring, as I don't want to ask my customer to be makeup artists to get the makeup artist result. I want to simplify every makeup or non-makeup gesture. My motivation also to create all the benefits of makeup without color. My philosophy is get the glow with or without color. Get perfecting skin with or without coverage. And all that is a science of glow. And all the science of pigments. You know, all the pigments we're using at by Terry are a tiny amount compared to the skincare we are using in our products, from foundation to eyelid, even to mascara. Each formula has let's say, much more skincare than pigments. And because our pigments are so sophisticated, rare, precious, they make the job of full coverage pigments. And it's all
I
about
love what
quality.
you said about this. Exactly. And I love what you said about the science of glow. And I think that's a beautiful way of putting it. And also you talked about all the products. So I want to kind of maybe kind of do a little roundup of the entire range, the entire hyaluronic range, because obviously the cult product that started it all is the powder, but then you actually have a whole range of products, and maybe we should go step by step, because you know, that might make the most sense. So if we start with the primer, now, you know, I'm someone, you know, I'm not having dry skin. I'm not the biggest fan of a primer, because I always think, oh, a primer is for oily skin. But of course you had me at the word hyaluronic. So this is not like any other primer out there.
Because it's not, there is no silicone. It's not a primer that just fills your pore. It's pure hyaluronic acid in a foam. It's like you have egg white,
yeah, it does,
you know, whipped,
yeah.
And yeah, it's more than, it's not a skincare, it's really a primer. It's a skincare, of course, because it's pure hyaluronic acid, but the formula and the texture it developed to fills all the lines, all the pores, all the micro relief. I don't know how to say relief.
But you know what, Terry? What's genius? It doesn't feel like cement. You know how some primers feel like cement? Not at all.
Not at all. Think about a cloud of hyaluronic on top of your skin. Just infuse all your pores, all your wrinkle to take 1,000% a time the weight of your original water to keep it into your skin to avoid evaporation of your own hydration. You know, when you use all the range from the primer to
let's talk about this.
Foundation.
Let's talk about step 2.
We'll
talk about the foundation.
To the powder, you increase by 47% the level of your own hydration. That couldn't happen with average makeup. So the foundation, you want to talk about the foundation?
Which was, well, I want to talk about the foundation because the foundation is obviously the latest launched before today's launch. So that was the latest launch. It launched very recently. Again, a groundbreaking formula. I know that before the launch, when we met, we met back in December, just before Christmas, and you were saying this was one of the most exciting, you were so incredibly excited about this foundation. You worked on this foundation for a long time. Obviously, you are the thing that people need to know, maybe they don't know about you, you are very exacting. Like, not just because something is meant to launch for a marketing calendar, you don't care. You don't launch it unless it's perfect. You worked a long time on this foundation, and so tell us about it, because it's been a very big success.
It's a huge success, and you're so right. I'm able, a day before the launch, to remove products from the shipment because it's not exactly what I want. So this, you see, it's like two phases. It's like two phases of formula of the texture, and it's pure hyaluronic acid, a lot of hydrating, and IMC and IGC pigment, intensive mimetic glow pigment and intensive mimetic correct and intensive glow control pigment and intensive mimetic correcting pigment. That means each time you use a drop of that foundation and you can build your coverage from one coverage to very sheer, like a serum, tinted serum, to full coverage from 4 to 6 drops, full coverage, and makeup artists love it because it's matte and glowy. It's like an interferentiel dewy finish, but it's absolutely matte on your skin, and it stays. And it's as you're wearing a sheet mask of hydration all day long.
Yeah. I have
It's
to say,
really
I don't.
unique.
Yeah, it is. I have to say that I like more of a glowy finish traditionally, but when I want to look more polished, this is the foundation I would reach for, because mattifying, for me, I never reach for anything that says matte. But this is not. This is the opposite of something that dulls the glow. It's not dulling. It's the exact opposite. So you just look really polished and flawless, but you don't. It's not like the light has been switched off in your face, which I think is the problem with a lot of matte foundations that feel like, you know, a pan stick, you know?
You know me, I don't like fake finish. I like when you can feel the skin behind. I like to feel the skin behind the perfection. And when I'm talking about matte, I never ask for flat finish. It's matte because when I mention dewy, I don't want oily, because nobody wants that. And this is matte, but it's like crystal frosted.
No,
It's
it's
still
a completely
alive.
unique finish. It's really a unique finish. And of course, all your formulations are vegan friendly.
They're absolutely vegan formula, clean formulas. I'm very keen on that, and not because it's trendy. I always use the most natural ingredients, but now we always going a step beyond, and with those skincare, non-skincare, makeup, non-makeup formulas, it's important to say that they are vegan and clean formulas. They're good for the skin.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good for the skin, good for the environment, beautiful on the skin, and beautiful also when you finish your. It has to be, comment dire, honnête.
Yeah, honest. And I feel like you've always been like that. And I think to finish off, what I didn't mention just before when we spoke about the primer and the foundation, of course, the iconic, hyaluronic powder, but then you also have the tinted version. So you have so many versions of tint in the powder that it's literally suits, you would say it suits across all skin tones, doesn't it?
Absolutely, really. The tinted version from rosy apricot to very dark add a slight coverage, but it's an alive coverage. It's mattifying. It's like a new technology of transparency and covering. And I know makeup artists love to use it because it's not hashy, it's not cakey. And for models, it keeps, for retouch and for fashion show, for all skin, dark skin, when you're getting also a lot of suntan, it never looked like grayish or mud on your skin. And that I worked a lot on the nation of my pigment, tuning the pigments. I'm behind
Terry,
every color.
I know. Look at it. Nothing goes through. It's your name on the product.
My God.
It is by Terry. Like you are, I know what you're like. But you know what you've done now? You've given me the perfect transition now to introduce two other guests, because, it's been so exciting to hear from you about the formulations, about how you came up with the products. And of course, you are, you know, a very renowned makeup artist yourself, and now you're more into creating products than doing makeup, because you've done that with lots of eminent, we all know Helmut Newton, you've worked with everyone. But now I want to introduce two ladies, one of which, you know, Nikki Wolf, Nikki Makeup. I know you're a big fan of hers. I'm a huge fan. I'm very lucky as well to call her my friend. I do think she is everything that modern makeup is about. You know, it's always, and all her looks, the skin, you look at the skin, whatever else is happening, it's gorgeous, and that skin is utter perfection. So I think she's going to be amazing at talking us through how she uses the product, and I want to learn a few things. And then also we have a girl that I have to say, you know, I don't get skin envy very, very often, but when I look at her skin, Evie, I need to get your skin tips later. You look absolutely flawless. So I'm looking forward to seeing your kind of demo as well on how you like to use the products. And so I think at this stage, over to you two.
Hi everyone, thank you for that lovely intro, Alex. So really with me, the thing that I love most is really gorgeous, youthful, dewy skin that has a glow. But even I know that there is a super fine line between looking dewy and glowy and actually looking a bit shiny, particularly if you're on more of the oily side like I am. So I absolutely love the products in this range for giving you an effortless, youthful glow, but also really plumping your skin, mattifying your skin, filling out fine lines. So the way I like to use them is, firstly, I'll go in with the Hyaluronic Hydra-PRIMER. Now this is a really beautifully creamy, velvety primer. And what it's great for is just really giving your skin a look where you almost look naturally airbrushed. So I'll take the dual-ended brush and I'll use the side that you can use for foundation. And I'll put some on the back of my hand here, and I'll just tap here. And then I'll just go into the areas of my skin which are more likely to get oily during the day. So for me, that's my T-zone. So I'll just lightly take the primer into these areas where I get shiny. And you can literally instantly see that it is completely taking down any of that shine. I absolutely love the texture of this. It's so gorgeous. So yeah, anywhere that you get oily, just take a little bit of primer. If you have any fine lines, so for me, I have a few small lines here, very laughy person. And if you've got any fine lines under your eye, not only will that plump and fill out the fine lines, but it will actually rehydrate your skin. It's such a gorgeous primer. Then onto the star of the show, one of my absolute favorite new things. So the Hyaluronic Pressed Powder. This for me is fantastic because naturally I tend to shy away from powders. You know, I really love glowy, dewy skin. So for me, I've always seen powders as a product that don't really want to go near. But this does not give you any of that dryness, chalkiness, cakiness that you can often get from setting powders or any type of pressed powder. What it really does is it plumps and smooths the skin. So how I like to do it is I like to take the other end of my brush, and I've got the powder here, and I'll just go in with my brush, tap off any excess, and then really lightly build up a sheer coverage. And now you can see more of that shine is being taken down. But my face doesn't look fat and like really flat and grey. It looks very, very dewy. You can still see the natural skin coming through. Another thing I adore about this powder is the texture. It is just so velvety smooth. It's absolutely unreal, and I love it. You know, any skin tone can use it. You can see it's not left a kind of chalky finish on my face. It's really lovely. And what this just means is, you know, if you still want that dewy look, if you've got a long day, if you know you've got oilier skin, this will really help control those oils whilst hydrating your face. That's why it's really great for any skin tone. From oily to dry, it's really, really a beautiful powder. my new favorite discoveries too, I love this whole range, is the tinted Hydra powder. So this is the loose powder, but the tinted version. This is really great if you want that natural skin-like finish, but you still want a bit more coverage, or you want to look a little bit more done up, or maybe you're just not, not comfortable with the sheer look. You like to kind of play around with a bit more of a, done up look. This is really great. So what I have is I have two colors here. I have the dark and I have the medium dark. And this is kind of a good trick that I like to use when using powder or any sort of face makeup, particularly if you have darker skin, because we tend to have various different colors on our face. What I'll go in is I'll take the lighter color, get a little bit of this powder on my brush, so you can see here, it's a slightly lighter color. It's got really, you don't get too much product, you just get the right amount. And I'll take this on my brush, dust it off, and I'll just go into the areas of my face that are just slightly lighter. And for me, that's the kind of middle area of my face, my T-zone. And oh my gosh, I mean, look at that color. That's just insane. It's instantly making my skin look smooth and flawless, but still like skin, which is absolutely the key for me. Then I'll take the slightly darker color. So I've got the dark here. And what I'll do is I'll use that to create the illusion of contouring. So this won't kind of make you look overly done up and contoured, but you will just look like you've got really great bone structure. And come on, who doesn't need a little bit of help in that area? We all do. So yeah, I'll just take that on the areas that naturally you would contour. And it just adds the most beautiful dimension to your face, whilst I've still managed to maintain that glowy, dewy look. So, I mean, I absolutely love these products. There's something here for everyone, which I think is just great. So yeah, this is my natural look. I'm now going to hand over to the amazing Nikki, who's going to show you how to create more of a fuller coverage look, if that's what you're into with the foundation. So over to you, Nikki.
Thank you. Hi, I'm going to show you a quick demo using the Hyaluronic Hydra range. I say quick because the products are so user-friendly, really. I think that's the best way to describe them. They're just a beautiful texture. So I'm going to start now using the Hyaluronic Hydra-PRIMER. This is a really versatile primer. It can literally be used on anyone from kind of young, plump, oily skin types to more mature and drier skins, because it does have that kind of skin perfecting texture. It really helps to blur out imperfections, diffuse fine lines, also helps to mattify, but also because of the hyaluronic properties, it draws moisture out of the environment, so it keeps skin feeling hydrated and looking plump and hydrated throughout the day. So I've just popped a little bit on the back of my hand, and just with the kind of flat synthetic end of the dual-ended brush, I'm just going to apply that now. I always like to start from the center of the face when I apply a primer, and I tend to use a brush rather than fingers, although fingers are totally fine to use too. The reason I use a brush is just because I find with a brush you can be a little bit more precise, and then you can make sure that way you don't get product in your brows or your hairline, and you can literally just put an even layer exactly where you need it. And once this goes on the skin, it's got this beautiful kind of lightweight, almost mousse-like texture that melts into the skin, so you're not left with any kind of residue. It doesn't feel thick and cakey, which some primers can do, especially when they've got a little bit of grip and hold. So this really feels like hydrating and lightweight, but also gives the foundation that you apply on top something to stick to. So I love how versatile that is, the fact that you can use it on its own just as a skin perfector, or you can use it as a primer. I'm using it as a primer, so I'm going to follow now with the Hyaluronic Hydra Foundation. This is a really beautiful, lightweight, but buildable foundation. Don't know whether you can see on the screen here, but I have a little bit of melasma, which I developed through my pregnancy as I've just had a baby. And although this is a beautifully lightweight foundation, I do find that this actually gives me the coverage I need, and it's buildable too. So again, just from the back of my hand, I'm using shade 400W, which is a perfect match for my skin tone. And just starting again at the center of the face, I'm just working that into the skin. It really just melts into the skin following that primer. Just going to apply that everywhere. And actually, what I love about using this brush to apply is, although you've got the flat foundation brush one end, you've got this kind of a lovely soft powder brush the other end. And I like to actually go over my application with this side afterwards, which just makes sure that the product is buffed into the skin and completely seamless. So this is a really handy one just to have in your makeup bag. So that is the foundation on. Also, again, it's just like this hydrating veil on the skin that really helps to draw moisture out of the environment, perfect the look of the skin, and actually is versatile enough to be able to be used on oilier skins because it stays matte and it just looks like skin, but also because it's hydrating, you can use it on dry skin and mature skin too. So it's one that I always keep in my kit. And now I'm just going to finish off with a powder. Love the fact that my new favorite powder, well, my all-time favorite powder is now in a new formulation of a pressed version. Anyone that's watched my tutorials will know that I use the Hyaluronic Hydra Powder in the loose version pretty much on every single look that I do. It's just like, for me, when dewy skin is my thing and I really want skin to look like skin and to be able to see that glow, to be able to set makeup and actually not take away the dewiness is my ultimate goal. So this is a must-have, and I'm so happy to finally have one that I could put in my personal makeup bag. So I'm actually going to use it with a brush. It comes with a little powder puff, which is super easy to use if you want to just press onto the skin. I'm just going to dust over now just with the powder end of the brush. And you can literally use this powder right up under the eyes. And I think that's what's so unique about it, because so many powders can tend to look cakey and heavy on the skin. And it's a question I get asked a lot actually, is how to kind of maintain that glow and that dewiness in your skin finish whilst having everything look fresh and natural and not cakey. So for me, this is quite a genius product really, that you can literally take it right up close to the eyes, and not only does it not look cakey, but it almost helps to diffuse and perfect any kind of imperfections or fine lines. And actually sometimes I like to use the foundation end of my brush with the powder, which gives you a little bit more dense coverage, and just swipe that over any areas. So if you're setting your concealer, this is a perfect way to do it, which really helps to kind of set but also give you a smooth and perfect finish. And that's it. It really is like 3 steps as easy as that for a lightweight and really comfortable to wear base that is going to last you all day.
Thank
Great,
you so much,
amazing.
Nikki. And
Wow.
wasn't that good?
Evie.
I mean, I know
They are great. Evie, I learned so many things from you, and Nikki also. Thank you.
So we are going to go to some Q&As, but before we go to the Q&As, Terry, do you have any specific application tips for the new pressed powder?
It's exactly like that, but I have to say that I love to use the, comment on appelle ça, the puff, and I'm using it around the eye. I'm using puff, and I like to use it also to prep my eyelid before using any powder eyeshadow or even creamy eyeshadow. It will grab better the eyeshadow. You know what? Also, I like to mix this with a hint of, as you've done, but I like to do it at the beginning. I mix a little bit of dark, and plus with the brush, I do some dark, and then I'm going to the compact and add some color, exactly as my is here, that who are much better expert than I am in application. And also there is, you know, when you feel your skin a little bit too dry, I have a trick you can use. You can just put a little bit of your primer.
I'm going to try that.
And
I have to say, Terry,
I want to do that.
To re-plump your, you know, dewy, and without, and make it greasy or disturb your color. What, Nikki, you have to say, darling? dear?
I was just going to go back to the tip you said earlier about using the tinted powder, because that's something that I do, because it just has that slight tint and gives that very kind of natural sheer coverage. It's actually beautiful used on lighter skin tones as a bronzer. So actually sometimes that's what
Absolutely.
that you can use it as a bronzer, and it keeps that plumpness and the beauty of having that hyaluronic powder, but actually just gives this beautiful kind of sheer veil of a tint that's so nice as a very subtle bronzer. Also nice for men to use too, because it's the most natural way of achieving that kind of bronze flush.
Well, I'm definitely
But you
going
know,
to
a
use
lot
that
of
tip
men,
because I love a bronze.
I
a
know you
lot
do,
of men
Alex.
rely to the powders. We know you love bronze.
Yes, I do. But let's, you
Thank
know
you,
what? We
Evie.
actually we reached out to your audience last week, and we asked them, you know, to actually send their pressing questions, because it's one thing me asking you a question and these great experts giving their opinion, but we actually also want to answer the questions that, you know, your fans had. So I'm going to read out some questions to everybody. I'm going to start with you, Terry. Can I use the Hyaluronic Pressed Hydra Powder around my eyes?
Definitely yes. And the more you will using around your eyes, the more you will fill the fine lines, and you will add mattifying result, and also, believe it or not, a splash of hydration. Definitely yes, you can, and on top of your eyelid for sure.
It does the opposite of other powders, basically. It just plumps everything. Next question to Evie. Powder can make my skin look and feel dry. How can I avoid that?
Yeah, I think this is a problem that like literally all of us have experienced. So I think for me, you really need to start off with great skincare. So before you even think about putting any type of makeup on your face. So I really find that loads of light layers of hydration in my skincare routine really help. So then when I use something like a powder, you don't get that dry, cakey feel, which actually you don't get so much with this powder anyway, just because it has like one of the best skincare ingredients, hyaluronic, which holds on to moisture. So that really helps me. Yes, also maybe using a brush instead of the puff, because this makes for a more sheer application. So naturally you're going to get less of that cakiness and more dewiness. And like Terry just demoed, honestly, the best tip ever. A little bit of this on top of your powder really draws that hydration back into your skin, plumps it, gives you that dewiness back without feeling dry or cakey. So yeah, those are my best tips that work really well for me.
That tip is so good. I mean, I just tried it and I was like, wow, I would never think of doing that, because you'd think you'd disturb the rest of your makeup, but here it does the opposite. So it's a genius tip. Nikki, do you have to, oh, okay, haha, good one. Do you have to let the hyaluronic primer dry before applying foundation?
No, not at all. I mean, like I said, it's got this beautiful light whipped texture, and because the of the hyaluronic acid, it really just gives that smooth finish. So there's nothing to kind of wait to dry or set. You can literally go straight in with your foundation, or whether you're using your powder on top, like directly on top of the primer. There's no need to wait for it to dry at all. And actually, I just wanted to share a really nice tip, and the reason why I love to use these products so much is because as a makeup artist, sometimes when you do a look, and this can be as a working makeup artist or even when you do your personal makeup, you may want to go back and add products to make the skin a little bit more glowy afterwards. So you may want to add a little bit more highlighter or use liquid products. And I get lots of questions about using liquid products on top of powders. And actually, this is one powder that you can actually go back over the top with liquid products, and it doesn't move the product underneath. You don't get that cakiness. So really, all of these products, there's no need to wait for them to dry or set. You can literally go straight from your foundation, straight from your primer to your foundation, and then to powder. And then, like I say, if you need to actually add a little bit of glow, or you want to change your makeup afterwards, then there's no problem doing that on top of the powder. So for me as a makeup artist, that's where it really is quite a unique and special product.
Well, and I think that's because it was developed by a makeup artist who understands about textures and how they work together. And again, you know, this is what's behind all the products, you know, that you develop. You always think about the user and how it gets used. And I think that's really, you know, the genius of the brand as a whole. Last question to you, Terry. What is the best age to start using hyaluronic acid?
From very young teenager to very mature woman. It's, you know, as I said, hyaluronic acid, you have it in your body. So I think the first step in makeup to use very good ingredients and natural ingredients, it's better than to go to chemical things. And you protect your skin, you feed your skin, you hydrate your skin in the same gesture. And when you take those kind of ritual from the beginning, this routine, you keep it forever. And for a, let's say, old woman with a lot of wrinkle, without, you know, who doesn't like texture, feeling of color, to add a skincare texture, a non-color or color texture with this kind of hyaluronic component, it's a great way. So definitely from very young to very old.
Well, you are talking about the most versatile ingredients in skincare here, and it's definitely one that I, you know how much I love my skincare, so it's definitely one that I think is very universal, and I don't say that about a lot of ingredients. But you know what, I have to say, I've just spent the nicest hour or so, I think, that I've just had. It's been so exciting to kind of share our love for, you know, the hyaluronic range, and then discover this new product. And I have to say, I really, first of all, I have to thank you, Terry, for inviting us on here, and obviously I want to thank Nikki and Evie, and I would like to thank all the viewers. I found it fascinating. I hope everybody else did as well. So if we can all take up our little pressed powder, which is the new addition to the hyaluronic family. It is available now on the website,
and
there's a link added.
Sorry. We forgot to talk about the little one, the baby, but it's okay.
Oh, the baby! Oh my God, the baby trout. Oh wow, there's a baby.
The baby goes everywhere with me.
Well, now the pressed powder is going to go everywhere with me. But at this stage also we have one little, a last little surprise and exciting little gift. Basically, Terry, you were kind enough to run a competition via Instagram where 3 of your fans were able to win the entire hyaluronic collection. So I don't know if the baby is part of that, but it comprises all the products we spoke about, and then you can maybe follow some of the tips that Evie and Nikki gave us, but those winners will be announced later on. And at this stage, I'm just going to thank everybody for watching, and maybe the last word to you, Terry.
Merci beaucoup. It was really an amazing session. And thank you, Evie. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Alex. It was great. And you give me so much energy to work on my new thing, because, you know, my name is Ingu. I never give up. Promise you for next year, huge innovative hyaluronic things.
Ooh.
Stay tuned. À bientôt.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
À bientôt.
Thank you.
Merci.
Merci.